I'm back with another Wings of Fire plush and another part of a Hebi Haberdashery collab. This time we're making Skywings. Specifically, we're coming up with characters who are or were soldiers or something else related to the war. When it came to my character, I wanted to name him something to do with rock formations because rocks are neat, and rock formations remind me of caves. I ended up deciding on these rock formations called tors, which are these large group of rocks that jut out sharply from the surrounding area. They're neat. And now for a brief summary of Tor the Skywing. Tor was a soldier in Queen Scarlet's army, but not by choice. He absolutely hated it as he easily resents authority figures. During one battle, he lost his leg to an Icewing's frost breath. That and other injuries he sustained from that fight led to him being sent back to the Sky Kingdom. After the war, he started training to be a healer, which he found suited him much better, and he is much more content with life now. Tor always had a hard time with authority, but he does follow Queen Ruby as she has earned his respect. He is passionate about his role as a healer, and he has an interest in designing prosthetics for other dragons after one was made for him. He does feel intimidated by how much he has to learn about such things, but he is dedicated to doing it. Maybe if he met a certain Sea-Wing prince, he could learn a thing or two. Tor strongly values freedom and, when he has the time, goes on excursions around Pyria. Okay, so really quick, here's all the pieces for my Skywing. There's a bunch in here. Also, when I edited this pattern to be a Skywing, I made bigger wings, of course, and here is one of the foam pieces that's going to go in it. Very big and long compared to the others. So yeah. Okay, so here's the face and the head gusset. Also, this is what one side of the face looks like with the embroidery. He is the rare Happy Skywing. Okay. Okay, so the gusset to both sides of the head and sewed this front piece of the headpiece together, and now I'm gonna do the chin gusset. Yeah, it needs some trimming and stuff on the seams inside, but here's the head, the basic part of the head anyway. Okay, here's one of the body side pieces. It's kind of weird to look at now, but basically this black part is like the back and the top of the neck, and then underneath is the dark red part. You can kind of see how it's going to make the hole where the legs are going to go. And there's also this little bright red part that I'm just going to sew on right now because it's easy to forget and also easy to lose the piece. Legs. Here's a front leg. This is the back leg. Okay, so that's that. I just need to do sew this little dart, which is right here. I don't think you can see it on the camera. But yeah, basically all the leg sides are pretty much like this, so I will skip ahead to when I've sewn them all. Okay, here are all the leg pieces. Now I'm going to sew each of the two sides together, and then I will be able to attach them to the body. Actually, I skipped a step. I have to sew on the rest of this body part, which is the light red, before I can sew on the legs. Okay, here's a front leg. Whoops. And I'm going to sew it into the body. Okay, here's one side of the body with legs sewn on. Also added the claw at the back leg. Here's the other side, where this leg is short because he's missing part of his leg. And there's also this half of a gusset piece that goes down the neck, which is there because the spikes are going to go in the seam. And that's what I'll be doing next. Okay, I know I said that I was going to do the spikes next, but I realized it would be a lot easier to first do the feet and the tail and then do the back spikes. So I'm going to do it in that order. And here's all the pieces. This one only has 3 legs. And for example, here's the claws. And these are like toe pieces. These are also toe pieces. Here's like the sides of the feet. And back here is the foot bottoms. And this part is going to be really tedious. I'll show a little bit of how I make them, but mostly I'm just going to go full speed ahead and get to the fun parts. Okay, so these are basically all the outer toes, and here's one of the feet pieces. The toe goes in the circle here, and when you pin it, it looks like this. Looks really weird, but I'll show you how I sew it. Okay, so now it's hard to see at this stage, but we have one side of the foot with one toe sticking out. And that's what it looks like. not like a foot yet. But I'm going to skip ahead and attach some of the other pieces to show you the foot. Really quick, I wanted to show you what this foot looks like before I sew the bottom on. And it's kind of looks like a mess right now, but soon it will actually be a foot. And I'm not going to record sewing it to the bottom because it's very tedious. I have to sew like little bits at a time to go all around, and it's very annoying. So I will skip ahead and then attach them to the legs. Okay, here's one of the feet, and here are the other ones. Now it's time to attach them to the legs. There's the legs on one side. And here's the other side. Now, tail spaghetti. Skipping ahead a bit, I'm sewing on the last of the 3 colors on this side of the tail. Here's the tail attached. Now I can sew in the back spikes. Before I did this, I basted the spikes to one side of the body. Basting is a temporary stitch to hold it in place to make it easier to sew all the layers together like I'm doing now. Also, I keep finding stray huckleberry hairs, so someone has been messing around here. I'd be more careful if this wasn't a plush for me, but whatever. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of the belly piece being sewed on, so I can't show that. The file got corrupted for whatever annoying reason, so we'll skip ahead to when I've finished sewing the main body. Okay, this is the body all sewn. The main body, I mean. Now to turn it inside out. Yeah, this is not the best place to show it. I will take another video in a second, but here it is, turned inside out. Here's the unstuffed plushie. Okay, I'm gonna do the underside of the wings first because I guess I think it'll just be easier to do like one color set at a time. So yeah. Now to turn them inside out. Here's the other wing. And now I just have to put the foam inside them before I sew them on to the dragon. And now the foam is inside. And I think before I attach the wings, I'm going to attach the horns and ears and details like that, because I think that'll be easier to do before the wings are on. And I'm pretty sure that's what I did with the other ones too. Okay, so here are the horns and ears. Here's one of the ears. The tiny little nose horn. And the two main horns. And I gave him striker-shaped horns because I can. So I'm going to sew these parts on, and then I'm going to work on sewing on the wings. Okay, just really quickly, I just wanted to show the way the wing attaches. And next I would be making the prosthetic leg. And I also had this idea to use magnets. I'm going to put a magnet inside here and then inside the top of the prosthetic leg. And I am going to use fabric like this and then sew a little pouch, put the magnet in, and then open this up and sew the pouch inside it in the seam so it doesn't see it from the outside. So yeah, I will start the process of making that, because that's the final thing to do for this dragon. Really quick, here's all the pieces for the prosthetic leg, and I drew this little guide to remind me of where all the pieces go, because it's kind of confusing. There's a bunch of like little tiny bits in there. Okay, here are all the pieces sewn. I just have to turn them inside out and put them together, then figure out wires and the magnets. I'm going against my rule of having the plushie be 100% cuddly. I usually don't like to include wires, but I think for this I might. And I think it'll just make it sturdier. So yeah. Okay, here's all the pieces of the prosthetic leg here. I'm going to put in the magnets next. I'm going to put one in here and then one in the dragon's leg. And make sure that works, and then I'll get to stuffing and figuring out the wire. Okay, I've stuffed these, and I'm trying to figure out the wiring, and not off to a good start because I accidentally cut myself on the wire trying to bend it. But I think this will work. I'm gonna like put this inside and have it go up through each of the layers, and find a way so that this doesn't poke through and cause more issues. And I put these together and like compared it to the size of the leg. Everything looks good. I just have to figure out this last bit. Not off to a great start, but I'm not giving up. Yeah, it's Huckleberry. Do you want to help me figure this out? Okay, I actually need to film now. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, I got a cool Pikachu Band-Aid, and no blood got on the plushie, which is really all that matters. And what I think I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to get something to cover these sharp edges before I put it in the plushie, because for obvious reasons. And then I'm going to try to bend it into shape and to have a loop at the end where I can secure it to both ends of the plush, so then I don't have to worry about it moving and getting out of place. So yeah, I will see how that goes. Okay, so I bent the wire over and I glued some fabric straps to it so that it's not going to poke through any fabric or anything like that. And now I'm going to put it inside these pieces and sew them together. Okay, here's this. I still have to sew this up, but here's what it looks like with the wire inside. And there's a magnet at the top. And next I'm going to be sewing on the straps for extra security, and you know, that will pretty much be the last step. Okay, here's the first look at these straps. And the legs, and I tested it, it does stand. So with that, this plushie is done. And now, here's a good look at the finished boy. And that's another Wings of Fire plush done. I have more planned, as well as more plushies in general, so stick around if you want to see more.